Now it's time to take a deep dive.
Well, thanks, Mick, for that. This is a deep dive. So, Chris, we're going to go and have a look now a little bit deeper into why being a millennial is, I'm going to say, simply the best. And there is a reference there, but I think it's the superior experience as far as being, a specific generation.
Worlds, I would say.
I think so.
Yeah.
So we've got some points here that Mick's researched, and we're going to go through them, and we're going to talk about each one. The first point is digital pioneers, right? So millennials were the first to embrace the internet revolution. I 100% agree with that. We witnessed the rise of the web, social media, and smartphones, while other generations were fumbling around with rotary phones and floppy disks. Now, I'll just pause there for a second. I do love me a good floppy disk.
Who doesn't love a good floppy disk? Did you like the 3.5 inches or the 4 inches floppies?
Oh, look, I'll stick with 3.5 just to be safe. But the point is, we were out there inventing memes, mastering social media, and shaping how we connect online. That was a big part of the millennial experience. We'll go with that. Number 2, what have you got for me?
Number 2, cultural revolutionaries. So we just didn't follow trends. So we define them. So from Facebook to Instagram to the way we consume music.
Yeah.
If everyone remembers back to the Napster days, and big shout out to Metallica and especially Lars there.
Thanks, Lars.
Thanks, Lars. We love you.
Yeah.
So we created new ways to experience and share culture. We brought diversity, activism, and fresh ideas about equality to the forefront of global conversations. So other generations weren't so far forward thinking, I would say, in terms of their cultural revolutions.
I'd agree with that. Number 3, resilience in the face of adversity. I'm going to pick on other generations again. We're doing this a bit. Sorry, guys, but anyway. While the boomers got to thrive in a relatively stable economy, and they did. You could buy a house for 2 seashells and a bag of chips or something. And Gen Z, or Z, I guess it's Z. This is American, but we'll go with that. Had a smoother ride with tech, and they definitely do have a smoother ride, and I think that's because of millennials. But millennials were handed the short straw because we had economic crashes, job stability was up the shit, sky-high debt. We still have sky-high debt. Yeah. We still managed to thrive, so we're pretty adaptable, resourceful, and we built what's called the gig economy. Now, the gig economy is, I guess it's like having the side hustle.
And everyone's got a side hustle these days. There's no one, I think, in our generation that doesn't really have a side hustle. You could
maybe...
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
You could say this is a side
hustle.
It's not a hustle. It's just on the side.
It's a gig on the side.
It's a gig on the side.
It's a gig on the side.
Yeah.
Now, I told you earlier we're going to look at some cool shit.
You did.
We pioneered the cool. So let's talk about style. Let's talk about music and the media. So the 90s and the early 2000s were the peak of pop culture. Now,
Definitely.
Talking of the peak of pop culture, that only brings to mind a couple of things. One, Backstreet Boys.
Of course.
Absolute peak of culture. We had NSYNC. Absolute peak again.
The peak of human existence.
It was incredible. The music they pumped out in those days was incredible. Look at that photograph. Who are those guys?
Creed. No, Nickelback. I mean, again, amazing band. Wonderful.
Incredible.
Wonderful.
That was the peak of cool. So we also, the golden age of TV with Friends and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And fortunately for us as millennials, as we touched on earlier, we got to experience the peak of blockbusters, I would think, in the 90s. I mean, can anyone top The Matrix or Titanic? I don't think better movies have been done in 25 years.
Is Titanic still...
I think so.
Or is it Avatar? We'll find out at some point.
We'll find out, yeah.
We might find out.
That sounds like a segment.
That does sound like a segment.
Yeah, it does.
The work-life balance. Very important nowadays. Everybody's talking about it, but I think millennials were the generation that pioneered that shift, right, towards meaningful work, flexible schedules, and great emphasis on mental health. Definitely something that we all sort of look at now when we get, when you apply for a job now, one of the things you look at is its flexibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Work-life balance is so important.
So not always just the paycheck. Like, you want to have purpose and balance in what you do. And I think that we're the first generation probably to do that. Meanwhile, the boomers, who are, some of them are still around and our bosses, and they are really keen on being in the office every day. They love it.
They love it. Yeah, that's what
grinding it out.
Yeah. No better way to spend your life. Why wouldn't you do 9 to 5? Even 6 days a week if you wanted to.
Mate, do it 7. Do it 8.
Do it 8.
Fuck
8 days a week.
Fuck it, do it 8.
It's got a ring to it.
That could be a song.
That could be something. Point 6, let's touch on here. We were the OG entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs. So while everyone else was still figuring out how to use a computer, The Millennials were creating businesses from scratch.
Yeah.
So the power of social media, e-commerce, and the sharing economy. So Etsy, Uber, Airbnb. That was the millennial generation.
Yeah, there was a time when you were warned against getting into a car with strangers, but now we do it all the time.
And you pay for the privilege.
That's right,
You
exactly.
pay a stranger, here, take my money and take me somewhere.
All right, so here's the bottom line, because Chris and Sean said so. Being a millennial means you
Is
are...
this the bottom line?
It is the bottom line. It is. At the crossroads of tradition and revolution. I like that.
Absolutely.
That sounds right to me. I
Yeah.
think so.
We've got that older generation mentality in terms of work ethic, but we're also on that cusp of technology. So 100% we're there at the crossroads.
I think so. And we made it look easy.
Easy, yeah.
Easy.
That's what we did.
That's what we
Now
still
look at
do.
us.
We
We're still
continue
doing
to
this.
do.
Yeah.
That was our deep dive. Thanks, Mick. Up over to
Thanks,
you, mate.
Mick.